Welcome back. For those of you that are new to my session today, I'm Lance. I'm the fundraising manager in New Zealand for entertainment. We have some great speakers to finish off today's events. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Michelle Berryman, who's the Executive Director for the Fundraising Institute in New Zealand. Michelle has 25 years of experience in the not-for-profit sector. I first met her many years ago at the Child Cancer Foundation in Wellington in her role as the Business Development Manager. And our paths have crossed many times over the years at different fundraising events. Michelle is passionate about the fundraising community in New Zealand and globally, and is dedicated to instigating positive, transformational change within our sector to further the success of the not-for-profit organisations. Let's hear from Michelle.
Kia ora everyone, and my name is Michelle Berryman and I'm the Executive Director of FINS. I'm absolutely delighted to be with you today, and thank you very much to Entertainment for inviting me here today. I hope to offer you some really quick hints, tips and tools that might kind of give you some ideas of how to steer your fundraising through the next year, given the year that we've just come out of. I've got quite a lot to get through, so I'm just going to get on with it. This first slide just highlights what we do at FINS, but you can jump on our website if you're not a member of FINS. Our goal is to provide the best educational events to educate fundraisers here in New Zealand. At the same time, we develop the standards of practice so that we're all aware of our ethical obligations to fundraising. And one of the big things we do for you is we're your voice. We advocate for all things going on in the sector. Big issue with the checks at the moment, so we're your voice right now. So do jump on the website if you want to find out a bit more about us. Fundraising, what is it we do? Up here, I've just got a little, one of my heroes of fundraising is Ken Burnett, and he reminds us that the difference between a merely good fundraiser and a truly great fundraiser is simply that the great fundraiser knows more. That's all. That's why being here today and professional development and education is so important. That's how you become a specialist in your area, is by knowing more. So what do we do? Fundraisers and the organisations we work with, we aim to make the world a better place. And the way we do that can be different according to the culture, the societies, and laws of where we fundraise. But the values, the belief and the principles that govern us as professional fundraisers are what unites us in the way that we fundraise, joins us together as fundraisers in a community like we are here today. And we're all dedicated to achieving fundraising excellence for our causes, our donors, more important, and our supporters. So what happened last year? Well, a very quick overview of what we witnessed at FINS was, in the first few weeks of lockdown and the subsequent rules, the first step, I guess, was imposed on essential mail. It caused panic and people were acting. It was a natural reaction to something that was not written into anyone's strategic plan. There was some real raw emotion out there. There was panic, but thankfully that initial panic has settled down. And the organisations that are thriving and surviving, they're leading strongly by resetting back to what they know to be the basic principles of fundraising, basic principles of good relationship fundraising. That can often get lost in our desire to raise more money. We kind of forget what it is we're here to do, and we're here to facilitate our donors make an impact on the causes they care about. So we really need to think about donor love, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. And how did the industry respond? Well, it fell into kind of three camps. The first group of organisations, they stopped. They got nervous. They said, let's cut the budgets, cut the fundraising expenses, get rid of the consultants, don't send out any mail, just stop, don't spend any money. They were hoping to ride out the storm and return to their previous programme when the dust settles. The second group, they were the group who panicked a little bit, short-term patching. They went out there with crisis mode, emergency appeal. We're not going to raise our money. We've got a big gap in our finances. This is the impact COVID has had on us. This is what we need. And they didn't think about, this is what you can do to change the organization you work for. This is the impact that you can have. They hope to fill the financial holes and ride out the storm and return to previous program when the dust settles. And then there was a third group who took a much more considered, how can we thrive after this? We're in crisis, but how are we going to get through this crisis, and what happens after the crisis? And that's the group that took a donor and beneficiary focused approach. They were aiming to engage and retain their donors by keeping them involved in what was going on for them during the crisis and giving them some vision about what will happen next, and also reminding them of the impact and how they can support during the crisis. There's no guessing what one was the most effective answer. Of course, number 3, taking a donor-based approach to their fundraising. So just looking at who's thriving and not just surviving, and why. Those who kept on fundraising. If that's one takeaway that you take away today, in times of crisis, do not stop fundraising. In times of need, people need to give, and they give to need. And so during crisis, do not stop fundraising. Keep fundraising. Focused on what you could still do that was working before COVID. If you had a robust strategic plan, just set back to that. If COVID identified some gaps in your strategy, where maybe you had more face-to-face fundraising, or you had a lot of event-based fundraising, now is the time to accelerate change and put in a strategic plan that's a little bit more robust than events or face-to-face fundraising. And those who focused on their donors and their donors' needs, those who focused on empathy, gratitude, vulnerability, and transparency. Basically, those who took a donor-based approach to fundraising are the ones that are really thriving and surviving. And I'm going to give you a quick example. Forest and Bird were about to do a phone campaign just as we went into lockdown. And instead of cancelling that campaign, what they decided to do was turn that campaign into a health check. And that health check meant that they were ringing. They knew a large part of their donors were elderly, so they were ringing to make sure, are you okay? Is there anything we can do for you? Do you have the food that you need? Do you want to pause your donations? Do you want to reduce your donations? What they did was they continued to build a deep, strong relationship with their donors. They got to know them. They asked them, how are you? They listened to them. They empathized, and they really made sure that their donors were okay, regardless of they didn't talk about the money. They spoke about their donors, and that was so important. And you know what? Those donors will never forget Forest and Bird for that. Those donors will remember that health check phone call. They will remember that the organisation that they care so much about actually cared about them. And so these are not normal times. And it shows that in times of crisis, we need to step up as fundraisers. And these are the defining moments for your organisation and how you approach this and how you talk to your donors. You're there to facilitate the impact your donors want to make on the causes they care about. And it's up to you as a fundraiser to make that defining moments and really cement that relationship. And how do we do that? How do we let people know what we do? We tell your stories. Storytelling is huge. I think everyone knows that to tell our story. We're not talking about how great our organisation is. No longer are we saying, this is what we do, this is why you should give us money. No, that's not the rhetoric anymore. You're talking about your donors and the impact they can make. Stories influence people. They should be inspirational and engagement. People everywhere want to make a difference, and through your stories, you can help them make a difference to the causes they care about. Some of the words that I've mentioned before, this is about changing our lens and how we talk about our organisations. We no longer want annual reports saying how amazing we are. We want annual reports telling donor stories of how we work together, and it's because of you, and we thank you so much. You are incredible. These are the kind of words you want to be using in your communications. Don't just attach words though, don't just change words, make them real and authentic. It's really important that you're authentic and you're true to the cause of what you're doing. Practice your storytelling across a full range of media. Doesn't have to be polished. Get those videos up on social media. Put out how you feel. When you talk to someone, we all make mistakes in webinars and how we're talking, be authentic, be real. Your donors will thank you for it. And leave your donors feeling wonderful. If you don't love your stories, then how can they? So what do you want to do? You want to be bold, you want to be brave, and the most important one is be authentic. Being bold and being brave is comes with those moments where we think, this wasn't part of our plan, but what is it we're going to do? So be bold, but be brave about the decisions you're going to make, and be authentic, be real, be compassionate, and surprise and delight your donors. Just throw up this little one here. If what you're doing at some point makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you're on the road to success. And that's that can be in all kind of, there's lots of examples of how that can happen. But as fundraisers, sometimes we do feel a little bit uncomfortable, and rather than think, should we be asking now, like that group that stopped, maybe they should have not, that made them feel uncomfortable. We don't want to ask in times of crisis, but the reality is we must keep fundraising. So that's where I talk about being uncomfortable. If you think, oh, this maybe won't go down very well, actually, that's exactly where you should be going. It's not certainty which is creative, but the uncertainty that we are pledged to in our works. So just to wrap up a very quick session, and this is from Simon Scriver, who we worked with during the year last year, and I think he wrapped this up really nicely. He said, is it even possible for us to take advantage by simply asking? Fundraising is giving people an opportunity. Everyone wants to change the world right now, and this is one way to do it. We provide that opportunity. We're all affected by this crisis. The world's most vulnerable are affected disproportionately, but now is not the time to feel coy. But this is really important, this next bit. Nobody should ever feel obliged or feel guilty when they say no. That's our job, is to empower and facilitate those that can give while showing empathy and understanding with those who can't. So there's a few takeaways there for you. Don't stop fundraising, listen to your donors, love your stories, and hopefully you'll have a successful year. Thank you, everyone. Please get in touch if you have any further questions. You can find me via the FINS website. We've got lots of opportunities for really accessible and affordable events coming up this year too. So please jump on our website. Huge thanks again to Entertainment and Lance. Thank you for having me today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for those insights, Michelle. We're planning to work with Michelle and her team at the Fundraising Institute in the coming months to provide some learning opportunities for you all. The Fundraising Institute does great work in supporting and advocating for our industry, and it's obvious that they have a very passionate, dedicated, and extremely stylish leader in Michelle. I just love that here. Okay, so next up, we had a chance to speak with Jenna Tuta. Now, Jenna carries out invaluable work in her role as a community fundraiser at Harbour Hospice in Auckland. She was kind enough to answer a few questions about the challenges and the resulting strategies employed by the hospice. Okay, welcome, Jenna. Thanks for being with us today. I thought we could start today by you telling us a little bit about your fundraising career and about yourself.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for having me. Just a bit about me, ko Jenna Tuta toku ingoa, ko Taranaki te maunga, ko Waitota te awa. So originally I'm from Taranaki, and I guess our family's always been sort of in that community world. And I came to Auckland in 2014, and our family have always had a deep connection with the hospice back home. So I felt quite drawn to the hospice here in Auckland on the North Shore, and that's how I came here. And well, yesterday was my 6th year anniversary, actually.
Oh, congratulations, that's great.
Yeah.
Super stuff. Well, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the Harbour Hospice's fundraising mission.
Yeah, for sure. So our fundraising team works to raise funds so that we can provide palliative care free of charge to people living in our regions. So those areas include the North Shore, so from Devonport all the way up to Te Hana in the north, or just below Mangawhai as well. It's quite a large area, and we provide care for the whole patient, not just treating the disease as often medical care does. We provide spiritual care, psychological, mental and emotional, as well as social services as well, and free of charge.
Okay, fantastic. And what sort of fundraising activities do you carry out to reach those fundraising goals for the hospice?
Yeah, well, our fundraising, we're incredibly fortunate to get about half of our funds that we need. We need about $13 million in a year to be able to provide our service, and about half of that is gracefully and graciously given by the government. So the Waitemata District Health Board give us about 50% of that, and we must raise the rest of it. So we have very popular and very successful hospice shops. We have 17 hospice shops for our particular hospice, and this provides about half of what we need to fundraise that shortfall left from the government. And then the rest is events, grants and trusts, as well as individuals who just donate out of their heart and soul to be able to keep providing that care.
Okay. And what sort of target do you have, Jenna?
Yeah, so as mentioned, the Waitemata District Health Board gives us about 50%. And so our fundraising team, we raised from the community last year in particular, 4.3 million. but that's because of all the COVID stuff. So we had the subsidy as well that made up the shortfall for what our events were supposed to raise, and our shops also had to close doors last year. So that kind of subsidy leveled it out, but usually it's the 50%-ish, well, 48.2%.
Yeah, it's an incredible effort,
Yeah.
And tell me, how does the entertainment program, fundraising program, fit into your overall, I guess, fundraising calendar and what you do through the year?
Yeah, well, it's fundraising through Entertainment Group has been around even before my time. North Shore Hospice Trust, which was our name previously, we've gone back to 2002 with the Entertainment Group. So we've been fundraising since then. We've actually fundraised over $160,000 over that period. And so we're incredibly lucky that groups like Entertainment Group already have amazing fundraisers set up. And so the book's there, what offers there, how to promote it is there. And we just have that as an offering to our donors. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And in the digital world, how do you promote your fundraising, including the entertainment fundraiser? Yeah,
so we have an e-newsletter as well with, I guess, the climate and the cost of post. It's getting up there, and we're trying really hard everywhere, even with our printing, everything, trying to save and make sure that we're helping people convert to digital so that they can firstly get it straight away, but also saves us from posting it out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Listen, Jenna, thanks very much. I appreciate your time today. And it's great to hear about the hospice and your mission. And we wish you all the best with the fundraising for 2021. We hope it's a really successful year for you.
Us too. Thank you. And for everyone out there as well. Thank you so much, Lance, for having me.
Thanks, Jenna. Well, it sounds like the fundraising at Harbour Hospice is in good hands. We wish Jenna all the best with their fundraising efforts this year. And we look forward to helping Harbour Hospice hit their fundraising goals. So before we give you the chance to join some breakout rooms to continue with any questions and feedback for us and to draw the big attendance prize, I just wanted to close by thanking you all for attending today. I hope you found the sessions informative and interesting, and I wish you all the best with your fundraising causes that are dear to you this year. I think it's clear we have a tremendous entertainment ecosystem of passionate fundraisers, caring supporters that buy their entertainment memberships through you to support you, and invested businesses that provide the great offers within the memberships as a way to show support for you and for the communities they serve. I love being a part of these connected communities, and I hope you do too. Good luck with your fundraising this year. We're here to help you and make it a huge success. And that's all from me. I'll see some of you in the breakout sessions, and good luck with the prize draw.